Welcome to US Columbus News Channel. Explosion sounds were heard on the territory of Crimea. Explosions occurred in two areas. Russian air defense is on the move. According to the allegations, missile attacks were carried out in the region. Target could be a military airfield again. Operations on the southern front increase their course. Russian army suffered heavy losses in the Kherson region on the border with Crimea. It has been reported that nearly 300 Russian soldiers were neutralized in just a few days at the front. At the same time, it was announced that more than 110 Russian soldiers were neutralized on the Zaporizhzhia front. Military support that may affect the course of the war against Ukraine is increasing. Anti-aircraft missile systems for Ukraine arrived from Poland. Russia's preparations and mutual shipments with Belarus continue. This time, Russia is transferring many of its soldiers and transport planes to Belarus. War has now started to become critical for the countries. Operations that have increased recently on the territory of Ukraine have increased their intensity both on the eastern front and on the southern front. Simultaneous operations are carried out on both fronts day by day. Each of the operations in two key regions is of great importance to the war. Eastern Front contains most of Russia's land logistics lines. For this reason, Ukraine is taking control of the logistics points used by the Russian army, one by one, with the operations it has started on this front. This situation causes the Russian soldiers to lose power in this front. At the same time, the Kherson region is of key importance in the south. Reason for this is that this region is located on the border of Crimea. To remind you, Russia had begun to deploy by gaining control in this region at the beginning of the war. Then, the Ukrainian army got stronger with the support from the countries and started operations on this front like many other fronts. Thanks to the powerful operations carried out, these regions began to be taken back and the Russian troops were removed from these regions. However, Russia resumed its attacks due to the fact that this region is bordered by Crimea. Because explosions are increasing on the territory of Crimea. This time, explosions were reported in the Yevpatoria and Jankoy regions of Crimea. According to the statements of the Department of Strategic Communications of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, it is likely that Russian air defense systems in the region began to work. Allegedly, the Jankoy area was hit with a high-precision weapon or by launching a missile. After the attacks, explosions were reported near the Russian military airfield in this region. Attacks continue to remain a mystery. Moreover, attacks on this area have been carried out before. This makes the importance of the region even more curious. This region is on the coast of the Azov Sea and is close to Kherson in the south of Ukraine. Moreover, the region has a road connection between Kherson and Crimea. This suggests that it may be used by Russian soldiers to carry out military shipments. At the same time, it is estimated that operations can be started in this region, where the military airport is located. Thanks to the simultaneous operations carried out by the Ukrainian armed forces in recent weeks, the Russian army is struggling more and more every day. This situation also increases the casualties in the army. With the mutual conflicts shifting to the southern front, intense clashes started again in Kherson. Operations on behalf of this key region are increasing. With the operation of the Ukrainian army, it was reported that about 200 Russian soldiers were neutralized on this front. Fact that these soldiers were neutralized in a single front also causes concern among the remaining Russian soldiers. In just 1 week, nearly 300 Russian soldiers were neutralized on this front. It is known that one of the biggest reasons for the operations carried out on this front is the border with Crimea. In case of dominance in this region, an advantage will be provided in the operations that are likely to be carried out against the Crimea. As the Ukrainian army gains control of these border areas, the probability of hitting Russian military points in Crimea will increase. Russia is aware of this situation and is transferring additional military resources to the front. It is thought that the operations towards this region, which is very important for both countries, will increase even more. At the same time, such accurate moves are being carried out on the southeast front. Ukrainian armed forces have increased their operations in the Zaporizhzhia region on this front. It has been reported that many Russian soldiers fled and patrols were launched to search for them after the increased operations in this region in recent days. Russian soldiers who could not escape, on the other hand, suffer great losses. According to the statements, more than 110 Russian soldiers were neutralized in this region in a short time. Ukrainian General Staff announced that these soldiers were neutralized near the Polohy and Velika Bilozerka regions on this front. Moreover, 5 Russian military equipment of various types, an anti-aircraft missile system and an ammunition storage area were hit and destroyed. During the day, it was reported that more than 700 Russian soldiers were neutralized throughout the country, and more than 15 armored war vehicles were destroyed. On the Russian side, which lost dozens of equipment and hundreds of soldiers even during the day, it does not seem easy to compensate for the losses anymore. Moreover, these losses cause a decrease in land operations. If Russia cannot find a solution to these losses, it will be very difficult to achieve success. Moreover, while Russia cannot compensate for these losses, Ukraine is getting stronger with the support from countries. This time, support came from Poland. Poland announced that it has delivered nearly 20 OSP anti-aircraft missile systems to Ukraine. Thanks to these supports, the Ukrainian air defense is getting stronger. Russia, on the other hand, tries to increase its air strikes, but it is no longer as successful as before. Moreover, it is thought that Russia's stocks for major missile attacks are about to run out. While Ukraine's military resources increase, Russia's decrease may determine the fate of the war. At the same time, according to the estimates, both countries are making new plans for the new year. In addition, despite the passage of months, it seems very difficult to end the war and reach an agreement. For this reason, the continuation of the support of the countries in this long-lasting war is of great importance for the course of the war. While Ukraine has support from many countries, Russia can agree with only a few countries due to the war. One of these countries is Belarus. As it is known, the country also provides mutual support in various ways. Joint military resources were deployed on the border of Belarus and Ukraine many times. This time, Russia, with its many soldiers, transferred 6 Illinois 76 MD military transport aircraft with many equipment to Belarus. Although it is estimated that many military equipment and ammunition are included in these aircraft, the exact content is not yet known. However, it is stated that the maximum capacity of these Illinois 76 MD transport aircraft is 245 military personnel. For this reason, it is estimated that all of the planes sent could carry more than 1,400 soldiers. More than 10,000 Russian soldiers were sent to the border in the past days. But Ukraine stated that these soldiers could be dealt with. This will be easier with the support from countries. With these moves, Russia gives the impression that it can attempt an attack on the Belarusian border with a joint preparation. But if Russia involves this country in the war, especially the border NATO countries will take action. Even now, after Belarus and Russia began joint military preparations, many countries began to increase their security at the border, and many NATO equipment was also deployed. It is estimated that these moves can be increased mutually in the long term. In these days of the new year, this war that has passed 10 months still does not give the impression that it will end. On the contrary, operations and mutual attacks are increasing day by day. From now on, all kinds of steps to be taken by countries and the moves made on the fronts have to be determined in a much more strategic direction. Otherwise, the losses may start to reach an even more irrecoverable size. In the following process, the moves and steps taken will be even more important than the previous ones. Especially for Russia, there is no margin for error. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.